How would you describe our student and family population?
Good question. I think our student and family population is diverse, and when I say diverse, I mean like obviously we have kids and families from all over the place. We pride ourselves on that. Our gateway to that is the train station, which is kind of cool for us. Being in Westchester, where I think we're the only school, private school in Westchester that has this on the train line. So that's always been the case. But I think as we've expanded our programs over the years, we've been able to really strategically use that to help support kids who might not otherwise come here because they can't, just be too much on their families. But the kids who do it, it's still a sacrifice for them. We have kids coming all the way from Washington Heights, a couple kids, a couple girls. Bronx is very popular. All southern Westchester, of course, like Mount Vernon, New Rochelle. Yonkers is not on this train line, but we do have kids from there, and then all the way up far up into Connecticut. So I think the challenge with that though is that um, well, for one, there's a socioeconomic piece to this, right? That's natural. Just as you look at neighborhoods, right? People in certain neighborhoods, some neighborhoods have a full band of folks, and some neighborhoods like Rye or have a lot of great resources, which is great. It's a big part of our school. The surrounding area, Rye, Purchase, Harrison, I would say are very a lot of makeup from there. Greenwich, and then a number of other ones. But that's like probably like easily half the school. I don't know if this is actually true, but I think that's how it feels to me. Um, and then the other half is like this mix of like all. And I think what's cool about our school is, especially in the younger grades where you guys work, is you don't really know, right? And certainly our school, I mean, they can share anything they want. We want them to, but like if they didn't want to share, or if that wasn't something that was obvious, then it just isn't. When we come to school, everyone is on the same plane, and we're and as teachers, and you guys are teachers, you work with every kid, give them everything you have, and that's awesome. So that for me and from my lens, that's true of the entire school. When that's not happening, or we need to strengthen that, we will work on that. So that's what I do a lot of. And then lower school, which again is your area, that's one of our challenges, because just in terms of diversity, that's where the least amount of diversity is in terms of racial and ethnic, and even socioeconomic in terms of financial aid. I don't know everyone's finances, but I do know where the funding is. And so we work with that. I challenge it. It's a challenge. I work hard to try to expand it out, expand our network, and get more people interested in the school. Actually, our problem is not interest in our school. Our problem is the opposite. Is that we have so many people interested in the school, but we don't have enough spots for everybody, and some great kids and families every year don't get in. I always tell people, if it doesn't work out, try again. And also, we're not going to bring people in that we don't think will benefit fully from the program. We don't, we know it's a great program, but it's not. It's rigorous, and so that's, I know that's a long-winded answer, but that's how I look at how families are. Then there's a whole piece of families connecting to the school, which I think is a whole other piece to this, which I'm actually part of. So it's hard for me. I'm close to it, but I believe in it. So like the PA does a really nice job of trying really hard to be there for everyone and find different ways that people connect, and I get to see that, and I get to work on that. So for example, we have a group called PCD. You might have heard of it, Parents Committed to Diversity. It's open to everyone. It does attract some families that might not be as involved with some of the other committees because of their work schedules, or because of where they live, or because of their whatever. For example, if you're a two-parent working family, that's a different dynamic than many of our families where there's one person working, commonly the dad, not always, but and then the mom is here and awesome, but has just more time to do all kinds of things. And so we really work hard to like have late night, like evening meetings, or early meetings don't work all the time for everybody. All these kinds of things we deal with, and I've learned a lot, and we learn from the family. So we don't look at it as like, oh, you're in our school now, learn us. We look at it as like, what do you want to do, and what works for you. And so that's again a big part of my work. So I'm again sharing my perspective on it, but I like to think that's the perspective, because that's what I'm part of my job is to do that. And I like doing it. I mean, I really take pride in getting to know pretty much as many families as possible. That's part of why, like, it's kind of crazy, but my job is obviously a full-time job, but then I also teach drama in the middle school, and I also coach tennis in the middle school, because for me, these are things I have, and I like to do it. I'm skilled at, but I meet different families that way. There are families I know would never even know who I am, and now they know. So like, I'm their coach when I'm coaching them, certainly, but they know that I'm also the diversity director or guy or whatever they think of me. So that's kind of nice for the program.
That's great. Can you speak to ways that our school includes those in diverse backgrounds?
Sure.
Diverse backgrounds.
So yes. So I think it actually starts with our mission, and it starts with inclusive language and inclusive, approaches in terms of programming and things like that. So for example, we're a school of great tradition, like but within that tradition, we expand it. We don't just, so for example, again, I'm going to highlight the PCD because they're just sort of, you know, their mission, their focus within the PA is to do this kind of thing, but there's no, like, it's a clean slate, right? So for example, I'll give you a snapshot of what they do in a typical year. They have a couple meetings a year where they can do anything they want, feature a speaker. They like to feature faculty and people, you know, people within the school for obvious reasons, because it's a chance for them to get to know them better, ask them questions, hear what they're doing. Parents love to know what's going on. You know that. So, for example, this year in the fall, they did a Women in STEM night where they had teachers in the school who were women and teach in the STEM fields, and it was very popular. I have to say, I was there obviously, but it was like pretty much all moms. They were like, I think I was there, and I think Scott stopped by for a minute, and I was like, there was no, and then we were like, oh, we're the dads, you know. But it was great. I mean, I loved it. You know, I think everyone there enjoyed it, and it was just really powerful, and a lot of good things came out of that. College counseling is very popular. We featured them quite a bit. The parents always like to talk to them. We did that again this year. We do a film. We show a film in Memorial Hall, and the parents usually pick some film that has some diversity component. This year's film was called Havana Curveball. It was about this young Jewish boy who, for his bar mitzvah, wanted to donate. He played baseball, used baseball
Equipment.
Equipment, and sent it to Cuba. And he learned. So I mean, it was a powerful thing. It was pretty cool, but also he learned how hard it was to go to Cuba and all that, and like there was a moment or two where he was discouraged, but he also had roots to it, because I think his grandfather came through Cuba or spent some time after everything coming over, and it was interesting. The grandpa supported him, but when it was time to, like, he wanted him to go with him, and the grandpa couldn't do it. He's like, I don't think.
Yeah.
After how we were treated, I just couldn't.
Right.
After how Cuba, everything going on in Cuba, I couldn't even know this was this powerful thing, and it was like for his grandson. He really wanted him there. He was like, no, I need you there, and let's like bridge this, because Cuba was this special place for his grandpa, but it's just too emotional for him. So we can respect that. The Arts Festival International Fair, you know about that. Huge thing. And really, that's an all-school thing. What I'm most proud about that is it's very popular, and all kinds of families come and contribute and really like it. But it's one of our few all-school events. And if you think about it, we don't do a lot of all school. It sounds bad saying that because we're this great, but we're just the nature. We do a lot of things, but it's rare that, you know, like Wildcat Weekend, there's some cool stuff, but just, you know, graduations, even those are, but it's rare that the whole community can come together. And you know who tells us that? People have kids in multiple divisions. They know, you know, and they have to come here 2 or 3 times for things, but that's real popular. But then there's, you know, room and we open to new ideas. So I think the structure for that, for example, the PCD year is pretty much over in terms of programming, but sorry about that. We're probably gonna have one more meeting as like a planning meeting with the co-chairs, and like maybe we might pick a few parents out of the community and say, come on in and talk to us. Let us know about your experience. What would you like? We did that a few years ago, and that's part of how we got to where we are now. We'll continue to do that.
Right.
Nice. From your perspective, what can RCDS pride themselves on in terms of working with the community?
I think involving the community. I think keeping an open mind. I think being true to their, you know, the ideal, or their you know, when they bring you in with admissions, I'm part of admissions too, that they tell you kind of what I'm saying and that they really do it. So like, I think sometimes it's hard for some families or even students to believe that, because maybe in other parts of it, they're like, oh, they don't really want to know what I think. I'm like, no, we really want to know what you think. We do a lot of surveys. We do a lot of focus groups. The PA does a really nice job, but they're like a machine. They do all kind of things. I don't even know what they do, you know. But to really engage different people, and they really get to know people, and they take pride in that. They have the whole liaison program, which is nice. And so I think just sort of modeling and really building into their program that they really want to hear from you, solicit feedback, and they really take that into account. And they're proud of like saying, this is what you wanted to do, so we did it. Or we asked families, here are our options, and this is one that they really want to do, knowing that there might be some families who don't. That's not their thing, but at least we can say we asked you. It wasn't just like, you know. So I think, and I think the administrators like me and the teachers like me, who also a teacher, really pride themselves on getting to know people really well and creating that trust. Like me, I know I work hard to earn the trust of the kids and the family, so that they can tell me anything, but also let me know if that one's working or not. And so I might, and I don't have to share who it was, but I can say, look, I talked to some families. This is a challenge. What can we do? I do a lot of that kind of stuff. That's a big part of my job.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think of it that way, but it is. You know, but it takes the earned trust to make that happen.
And then last question, as a parent at Rye Country Day, can you talk specifically about the extended day program?
Sure, absolutely. So you might know this or not. I was actually part of creating the extended day program, well, let me share this story with you because I think it'll be relevant and helpful to you. In my first year here, I went to a missions open house. I worked the missions open houses, and there was a family there wait, was she already in? Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
She's in the school. The family's in the school, but I'm trying to remember, was she already? I'm getting confused on time. This is what happens. I'm so sorry. The point of the story will not get lost. I'm so sorry about this. I'd like to know this, but I can't remember, and I'll just let it go.
That's okay.
Essentially, she said to me, "Look, we're here. We love the school. We almost didn't come because of after-school care. We have that now with our pre-K. We don't have it here. There's another competitive school in the area that has it, that also accepted us. We came here because we love this place, but I just want you to know this. And there might be other families out there." So I not only took it to heart, but I was like, oh my God, I got to do something. So, that was a couple years ago. But it takes a while to do your homework, so I mentioned it to Scott, and he was very supportive, of course, and said, look, I need you to do some homework for me. And I did that. And then I worked closely with him and others. Sylvia was a big part. Me and Sylvia, pretty much, and Scott were the big three, I guess you would say, that worked on it. I talked to a lot of different schools throughout the city and Westchester, and gave him some ideas, and then he created what we have now, and it's very popular. I mean, I know it's not like 50. I mean, I think he strategically wanted to start small and get it right and get the right person. Colleen is wonderful. If you don't know who she is, she's just excellent. I don't think you can have a better person for this, to start it out and to do it. But she has help. Miss Brown is great too. But just to really get the pulse of like what family, because I think the idea was we kind of know what they need, but let's see how it goes. And it's been we have kind of like regulars, and I think it's built to have that, but also have some flexibility. So for example, like Ava, she definitely goes on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, I think, are her main days. Wednesday she has appointments in the afternoon, so she'll go for like a little bit of time, and then Thursday she has hip hop, so she doesn't go. But the point is, here's a tell-all sign. If I pick Ava up before 5:30, she is very upset with me, very upset, and this is like a serious thing. Like, she's like, "Daddy, what are you doing? We were gonna finish the game. We're going outside. How could you do this to me?" And I'm like, "Babe, I'm sorry." So like, I feel like I can't take her. Like, there are days I'm very busy, so it rarely happens. But there are days when I'm exhausted and I can actually leave at 4:30 or 5 or whatever, and I don't. I'm afraid that if I get there like today, or I'll leave and come back just because I'm like, it's just safer that way. So she's real particular. But just watching the kids, and they're still. After year one, they're already thinking of things they want to do differently. I don't know if they want to expand a little bit, but try some cool stuff with the kids. But, it's just, and I think that embodies the school. It's like, how do you create a program from scratch? It certainly reflects the school, but there's something special about it. What is it? We got good people there. People want to be there. The people, Colleen tries her best. I don't know how she does this, but she tries to get the kids all around the school. Right. I mean, it's hard to do that here, because things are very busy around here, but she takes them everywhere. They go see games. I've seen them in multi-purpose room doing stuff. They do the music room, anything that she can, it's really, they do homework, so Ava comes home, homework is done. So I think she mixes it up, but one of the routines is they start with homework for like an hour and then they'll play after, which kind of makes sense. The winter time is more challenging because they can't go outside if it's freezing. Right. So all that to say, it's a great program. It's been great for our family. It's been good being a parent in it, so I can advocate for others just because I have that. In my role, I would be interested in the program anyway, but I can say, oh, I know. And parents, I've gotten to know some of the parents in the program who share how they feel about it. And they're really, like, oh my God, thank you so much. And there's been quite a bit of faculty, staff, kids also in the program.
Yeah,
which Scott had that in mind when he created it. So his two, I would say, primary constituents would have been faculty, staff, families, and working families, where like at least either two working families or one single, something like that, where like it was clear that like this family was going to struggle to get to school.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, thank you.